I'm really privileged to be here with Crystal Squires, who is the niece of an exoneree, Bernard Barron. So the issue is incredibly personal to her. Wrongful convictions can mean a lot of things. The simplest way to talk about them is when an innocent person is in prison or is convicted for something that they didn't do. So across the nation, there's been almost 2,500 exonerations. And the folks who've been wrongfully imprisoned from those have spent more than 20,000 years in prison.
So he was my uncle and also my godfather. So he basically lived with us from the time I was probably like 2 up until he went to prison. Which my last memory of that was him putting me on the school bus one day and never being there again.
How long did B spend in prison for a crime he didn't commit?
21 and a half years. From the time he was 19 until he was 42.
The legal process took 6 years just to overturn that conviction.
And we're able to raise, over $500,000 for his defense fund. And that didn't even cover all of it.
Oftentimes in our clients' cases, a real investigation was never done. Sometimes we end up finding who actually committed the crime. Sometimes, like in Bernie's case, there was no crime. The crime was made up. The Commonwealth versus Bernard Barron. And the prosecutors bring it on behalf of the Commonwealth, which is us. Like, we are the public. So whenever something like this happens, it's done in our name. And so a number of exonerees, they always use the hashtag, not in my name. It's important to speak up, speak with your voice, speak with voting, speak with letters, to pay attention. And when people say, there is a presumption of innocence, that only exists if people make it exist. The only things that can prevent these things from happening is if prosecutors know that the community isn't just saying, lock everybody up. Locking everybody up is sort of the mentality that we have these days, but that's exactly, they were so quick to lock him up and lock him up for life, and then they didn't think about him again, and they didn't want to. You talk about your uncle and about what happened to him, and it's so hard, and it's so sad, and can you tell us why it's important for you to do that?
For me, it's important because people have to know. A, don't pass judgment because you see something in the media. B, our legal system is flawed and it needs to be fixed. You guys are the future. And if people don't start standing up and fixing the problems, then there's going to be another person like me sitting here. And they may not have been able to have their loved one out of prison. My uncle had 8 good years out of prison. But it took people like you to care and to say something's wrong here and to start asking the right questions.